Welcome back to RPG PhD. I'm Dr. Ben, and today we're diving deep into the world of Deus Ex Machina, that famous plot device from ancient Greek theater where gods swoop in to solve impossible problems. But how does this idea translate to tabletop role-playing games? Should game masters use divine intervention? And if so, how can we do it without taking away player agency? In this episode, we'll explore the ins and outs of Deus Ex Machina in tabletop RPGs with tips, techniques, and examples to make it work seamlessly in your games. So let's get started. In the annals of storytelling, few devices have sparked as much debate as the Deus Ex Machina. The term translates to God from the machine and refers to the moments when gods would descend onto the stage in Greek theater to resolve seemingly insurmountable conflicts. In Greek tragedies, playwrights like Euripides would present audiences with scenarios so dire, so tangled in moral and ethical dilemmas that human actors could not logically resolve them. It was only through divine intervention, often facilitated by a mechanical crane, the Machina, where an actor portraying a god would literally fly in so that these plot lines could be neatly tied up. This device has since been both revered and criticized, viewed either as a masterstroke of drama or a contrivance that breaks the suspension of disbelief. In the context of tabletop role-playing games, Deus Ex Machina presents a unique tool for game masters capable of creating memorable moments of awe if used sparingly. In Greek theater, the use of Deus Ex Machina was a deliberate artistic choice, reflecting a worldview that often explored the limits of human agency. The Greeks loved to examine the tension between free will and fate, often placing their characters in situations where neither choice nor action could provide a clear resolution. In Euripides' Medea, for instance, the protagonist escapes punishment for her heinous acts through divine intervention, leaving the audience both unsettled and in awe of the god's power to intervene in human affairs. The Greeks used this device to show that there are forces beyond human comprehension, that fate is often inescapable, and that the gods could choose to intervene at any moment, sometimes to the benefit of mortals, but often without regard for human suffering or morality. The role of Deus Ex Machina in tabletop RPG shares this tension between player agency and external intervention. Just as the Greek gods might intervene in the final act of a play, a GM can invoke divine or seemingly arbitrary forces to resolve a situation that defies easy answers. However, the nature of tabletop RPGs, where player agency is sacrosanct, demands a careful and judicious use of this device. In RPGs, the Deus Ex Machina can take many forms: a literal divine being intervening to save the party, a powerful NPC arriving at just the right moment, or a sudden twist of fate that defies logic. When done well, it can create unforgettable scenes that feel mythic and dramatic. However, overuse or misuse can lead to frustration, undermining the player's sense of control over their character's fates. One classic example of Deus Ex Machina in role-playing games might occur in a high-stakes battle. Imagine a party of adventurers fighting against a villainous sorcerer far more powerful than they expected. The group has exhausted all their resources and defeat seems imminent. Suddenly, an ancient dragon, previously hinted at in the lore, descends from the sky, obliterating the sorcerer in a display of overwhelming power. The players are saved, but their victory, while welcome, might feel unearned. And while the scene might be cinematic, it risks diminishing the player's sense of accomplishment. One of the most crucial elements in using Deus Ex Machina effectively is foreshadowing. In Greek theater, gods were often mentioned throughout the play, their presence looming large over human affairs. Similarly, in a tabletop RPG, a GM should plant seeds early in the campaign to suggest the possibility of divine or eternal intervention. For instance, the adventurers may have been blessed by a deity early in their quest, or they might have encountered powerful NPCs with the potential to intervene later. This builds a narrative logic for intervention, so that when the Deus Ex Machina moment occurs, it feels like a culmination rather than a cheat. While the essence of Deus Ex Machina is external intervention, it can be tempered by giving the player some role in the resolution. Perhaps the divine intervention is triggered by the party's actions, an artifact they collected or a prayer they uttered in a desperate moment. This keeps the players feeling like they contributed to the outcome, even if the resolution comes from beyond their control. In my campaigns, I often incorporate a prayer mechanic for players whose characters are aligned with specific deities. This allows them to pray for divine intervention in moments of desperation, adding an extra layer of thematic immersion to the game. However, to maintain balance and prevent over-reliance on this mechanic, I make the chances of success extremely slim. Usually 5% or less, usually much less. I roll behind the screen to determine whether the prayer is answered, keeping the uncertainty intact. When divine intervention does happen, it feels like a rare, momentous event, enhancing the dramatic weight of the moment without diminishing the player's agency or strategy. A Deus Ex Machina moment is most satisfying when it fits the themes of the campaign. If the game has explored themes of divine power, destiny, or cosmic forces beyond mortal understanding, then the appearance of such forces at a climactic moment can feel appropriate. For example, in a campaign that emphasizes the fragility of human life and the unpredictability of the universe, an unexpected divine rescue might underscore the themes of the game rather than undermine them. The most important rule for Deus Ex Machina is to use it sparingly. If the players come to expect a divine intervention every time they're in trouble, it erodes tension. The thrill of RPGs often comes from the real possibility of failure. The presence of a Deus Ex Machina should be reserved for moments of truly epic significance, where the stakes are monumental and the intervention feels like a narrative event in itself, not a mere solution to a problem. Consider a campaign where the players have been tracking an ancient prophecy throughout their adventure. This prophecy, full of cryptic references to the gods, speaks of a world-ending event. In the final moments, as the players face a monstrous being intent on destruction, their chances seem slim. At this critical juncture, the gods intervene, but not without cost. The intervention causes a tear in the fabric of reality, opening up new threats for the players to deal with in future sessions. The Deus Ex Machina here is both a resolution and a complication, creating new narrative opportunities while allowing the players to feel like they played a part in the world's salvation. In my campaigns, a Deus Ex Machina intervention doesn't typically resolve the entire conflict for the party, but rather offers a strategic boost to help them turn the tide. Instead of delivering a decisive victory, divine or external forces might manifest as a magic weapon appearing at just the right moment, a temporary spell-like buff, or the sudden activation of a special power. These interventions offer critical support that empowers the players to secure the win themselves, preserving their agency and sense of accomplishment while still creating a dramatic, memorable moment. This approach ensures that players remain the heroes of their story rather than relying on outside forces to save the day. Another approach might involve a high-level campaign where the players, after achieving significant influence in their world, confront a force beyond their understanding. Throughout their adventures, the party had unknowingly collected fragments of an ancient relic believed to be dormant and insignificant. In the climactic battle against the powerful foe, an ancient sorcerer, attempting to reshape reality itself, the party is on the brink of defeat. However, as the sorcerer prepares the final blow, the relic they've carried all along begins to hum with energy. It turns out that the fragments are part of an ancient failsafe designed by a long-forgotten order of wizards. The relic suddenly activates, temporarily shielding the party from the sorcerer's magic and enhancing their abilities. This Deus Ex Machina moment doesn't win the battle for them, but it provides the aid they need to seize victory themselves. It ties directly to the party's past actions, creating a satisfying payoff and reinforcing that their journey has been intricately connected to the larger forces at play in the world. I'm going to repeat myself here, but it bears repeating. GM should be wary of overusing this device. A campaign that regularly resolves its conflicts with sudden, unearned solutions risks trivializing the player's efforts and decisions. In the worst cases, it can feel like a betrayal of the player's investment in the story, as their actions no longer seem to matter in the grand scheme of things. Over time, players may begin to feel as if their choices are irrelevant, leading to disengagement from the game. The best tabletop role-playing game experiences come from the sense that the player's decisions, strategies, and improvisations matter. When a Deus Ex Machina is invoked too often, that sense of agency is lost. The Deus Ex Machina remains one of the most powerful yet precarious tools in a GM storytelling arsenal. When used with care through foreshadowing, thematic resonance, and respect for player agency, it can create moments of breathtaking drama. However, like the gods of Greek tragedy, the GM must wield this power with caution, lest it diminish the sense of control and accomplishment that makes tabletop role-playing games so engaging. Just as the Greeks knew, there is a fine line between divine intervention and undermining the very struggle that makes stories worth telling. If you enjoyed this breakdown or have your own thoughts on the topic, drop a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more RPG insights from RPG PhD. Thanks for watching. See you next time.